Welcome everyone! Today we learn how to use queues and stacks in .NET. So go to Visual Studio and create a new console application, define the name, select the .NET version and create the project. A queue is a data structure that follows the first in, first out principle, meaning the first element added is the first to be removed. We have two ways to declare queues, so let's create a new region for queues. The first way to declare a queue is by using the system.collections namespace. So create a new variable called schedule task and we'll create a new queue. Import the system.collections namespace. So we create a new queue of objects. The second way to define queues is by using the system.collections.generates namespace. So create a new variable called message queue and we'll create a new queue of type D. We need to define the type. In this case will be string messages. We can also add elements to the queue during initialization by passing the elements by a constructor. So I will add a new array and will pass two elements to the queue. Queues are appropriate for situations where the processing order matches the arrival order. So let's create a simple background worker to handle notifications. Open the Solution Explorer and create a new class called Notification Worker. We'll create a local queue. So define a new queue of type stream to handle notifications. Define the name and we'll initialize this queue. We'll add 5 methods in this notification worker. The first one is to add notifications. So we'll call the enqueue method to add an element to the end of the queue. And by an argument, we'll pass the value, the notification that we'll add. The second method is to process a notification. So we'll call queue.dequeue. This method removes and returns the element at the beginning. The next method is to pick a notification just to return the last element. So we'll return a new string, which is the notification. Define the name as pick notification. I will call queue.pick. Then we'll create a new method to remove all the notifications to clear the queue. So we'll call the queue.clear method. And finally, we'll count the pending notifications. So create a new method type integer called count notifications. And we'll use the count method to get the number of elements in the queue. Now go back to the program.cs file and create a new instance of the notification worker. Define a new variable and we'll add 2 methods to send and receive notifications. So add a new asynchronous method to send notifications. This will be an asynchronous method because we'll use the delay method. Add a new for each statement to send 10 messages, 10 notifications to the queue. We'll define the message to be sent. We'll use the index of the for each statement. I will call worker.add notification. By passing the message, we'll print via console the message was sent. And finally, we'll add a delay of 1 second. Add a second method to receive notifications. So let's copy this method and rename it as receive notifications. We'll process just 5 notifications. We'll get the message from the pick notification method. So call worker.pick notification. We'll process the notification, which is the first element in the queue. Then we'll print that the message was processed. And this delay will be added at the beginning of the for each statement of 1.5 seconds. Now we'll execute this task simultaneously to send and to receive notifications. For that, we'll use the task.winnow method. So call this method to execute tasks in parallel. We'll pass the task. The first one is to send notifications and the second one to receive notifications. will print by a console the pending notifications by using the count method from the Weka, so called console.writeLine pending notifications, and we'll call Weka.count notifications. We'll add a new line to read any button. When we press any button, we'll remove all the elements from the queue, so called Weka.remove notifications, and then we'll see that the pending notifications must be 0. Let's save it and test this notification Weka. Run the console app. As you will see, we're following the first in, first out principle, meaning that the first element added will be the first element to be removed from the queue. So we processed 5 elements and we sent 10 messages. So we have 5 pending notifications. If we press any button, we'll invoke the remove notifications method to clear the queue. So you will see we have no pending notifications. Close the window, collapse this region. A stack is a data structure that follows the last in, first out principle, meaning the last element added is the first to be removed. So create a new region called stacks. We have 2 ways to define stacks. The first way is by using the system.collections namespace. So create a new variable called stack, and we'll reference the stack class to create a new stack of objects. And the second way is by using the system.collections.generates namespace. So create a new variable called pile of plates, and we'll create a new stack of type D. We'll define this type as a string. Stacks are particularly useful in scenarios such as managing function calls, performing undo-redo operations, and implementing backtracking techniques. So let's create a simple undo functionality. Open the Solution Explorer and create a new class called undo functionality. I will copy the sample code in this structure from this notification Weka to create the methods needed in the stack. So paste the code and we'll create a new stack to undo commands. So we'll define this stack of type string, redefine the name as stack. We'll add a command instead of a notification in the stack. So we'll pass the value of the command. So we'll call stack.push to add an element at the top. Instead of process notification, we'll undo a command. We'll call the pop method to remove and return the element at the top of the stack. The next method will be to pick a command without removing this command from the stack. So call the same pick method. Then we'll remove all the commands by using the clear function from the stack. And the final method is to count the commands. Similarly with the count method to return to get the number of elements. Save it. Go back to the program.cs file. Let's use the same structure that we defined to create the notification Weka. So we'll copy the methods and this code. Go to the stats region and we'll create a new undo functionality and reference the undo functionality class. We'll add commands and remove commands simultaneously. So define this send notifications method as add commands. So replace the name of the message variable as command with the respective message. We'll call undo functionality that add command by passing the command with print by a console that the command was added, and we'll add a delay of 1 second. Let's reference this task in the task when all. For the second method, we'll undo commands. So define the name of the method. We'll undo 5 commands. We'll add a delay of 1.5 seconds. And we'll get a command from the undo functionality and we'll call the pick command method. And then from the undo functionality, So we'll undo a command and we'll print via console that the command, let's rename it, the command was removed. Collapse this method and reference this method in the task when all method, and we'll show in this message the remaining commands from the stack, and we'll invoke the count method from the undo functionality. We'll press any button to remove all the commands, so-called undo functionality that remove commands to clear the stack. And finally, we'll copy this line to see that the remaining commands should be 0. Let's save it. I will comment this queues section to test just this stacks implementation with the undo functionality. Collapse these methods, and it's time to test the undo functionality. Run the console application. As you'll see, we're following the last in, first out principle, meaning that the last element to be added is the first to be removed in the stack. So we've removed 10 commands from the stack and added 10. So we have 5 remaining commands. Press any button and we clear the stack by invoking the remove commands method. Close the console window. So in this demo, we've learned how to use queues and stacks in .NET.